The Lodger, a story of London fog, also known as Hitchcock's first film. But what makes it so Hitchcock-esque? Let's discuss today on Master of Suspense. So let's discuss the London Fog. Now, the London Fog is based on this period of time of United Kingdom where a mysterious shadowy figure called Jack the Ripper, we all know who he is. He killed prostitutes in the dead of night. He were just trying to make a living. Douche. And basically just did like this wild spree murder of these young women. Now, Marie Belloc, an English novelist, did a novel loosely based on this situation, and it was a huge success. And the best adaptation to her book was Alfred Hitchcock's version. There have been numerous versions, but the one to stand out the most is Alfred Hitchcock's. Now, as you see, it starts right off the bat. There's a murder, the cops show up, they're trying to figure out who this lady is that's dead on the floor. There's a commotion on the streets, they're trying to gather information, and then a newsletter pops in to watch out on the streets, there's a mass murderer out there, etc. Now, there are two reasons why this movie, I think, was so successful, and it has to do with the score, and it also has to do with the German Expressionism. Now, if you don't know what German Expressionism is, it's basically like this madness thing, this madness aesthetic, and it started with, or it gained success with the earlier silent films, Metropolis and The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, now is mainly known more as the Tim Burton style, if you want to view it as that. Now, Hitchcock used this movement that was a part of that era, that 1920s aesthetic of the Expressionism, and he used it to his favor with this very dark, gritty story about this mass murderer in England. Now, the big question, why is this Hitchcock's feature film? Why wasn't the short film that I talked about in the pilot not his first feature film? It is denoted his first feature film because it contains more of that aesthetic, more of that storytelling that we know from Hitchcock. The suspense, the murder, the tension, the thriller, and that's why it's known as the first movie to actually represent that style of him.
Based on a novel by Marie Belloc Lowndes, The Lodger, A Story of the London Fog, is a Ripper-inflected murder mystery in which a serial killer known as the Avenger preys upon blonde women. As Hitchcock chronicler Donald Spoto pointed out, the film offers early evidence of the director's long-standing association between sex and murder, ecstasy and death, introducing fetishistic tropes which would become defining moves in Vertigo and Psycho. It also gave the director his first signature cameo, although he only appeared on screen when an actor failed to show up. Ivor Novello plays the titular stranger upon whom suspicion falls, a role he would return to in Maurice Elvey's 1932 talkie remake. Producer Michael Balcon famously hated Hitch's original cut of The Lodger and fought with him over the ending, but the finished picture, re-edited with Observer critic Ivor Montague, was a hit.
Now, to conclude today's episode of Hitchcock, which, as I'm looking at the timer, it's gonna be like maybe 8 minutes if I don't shorten this too much. Okay. So the reason why this movie is so important is because it can be seen as the first thriller film. Not just the first thriller film for Hitchcock, but the first thriller film in the genre. And that is why it's so important to the filmmaking community and the filmmaking career. Join the pursuit on the Hitchcock Talkies Masters of Suspense, Blackmail and Murder.